Hi survivors, this is me representing reporting to you. Hope you guys are doing well because apparently what's going on in this world is truly not. I just want to get everybody, many people as I possibly can, and inform you guys just to be prepared for blackouts. What's going on now has made it very, very vulnerable. The system, infrastructure, everything, as far as the grid, the water treatment plants, everything has become very vulnerable because of what's going on. Obviously, what's going on over there in Ukraine with the whole situation with Ukraine and Russia. This is going to give a lot of hackers, a lot of people who hate America, a lot of people here in America, a lot of the powers to be. It's going to make it easier for them to do criminal activity as far as cyber attacks and things like that are concerned. I'm not going to just say or just assume it's going to be coming from Russia. No way. No, it'll be no way. They will be the only perpetrators. You know we have enemies here, right here in our own country. Y'all been following me know exactly what I'm saying. I don't want to go into it because I'm going to start being more careful of what I'm saying out here. Y'all need to please follow me on Patreon if you really want to know how I truly feel. But just know it's not going to be just the Russians or people from over in that area. If, when cyber attack occurs, allegedly. Now, there's different types of cyber attacks, and y'all, I'm telling y'all this because expect the grid to be down for a long period of time. This all falls into their agenda, you know what I'm saying? Because allegedly, it's still cold, and I told you guys, they'll hit you where you're most vulnerable and when you're most weak. Look at all this stuff going on over there right now in the cold winter months. Those people are fleeing for their lives, and it's freezing cold outside, and they have their children, and they having to walk for miles and cycle for miles and jog for miles. They literally over there fighting each other, trying to get to safety and trying to stay warm at the same time. I told y'all, them people will catch you at your weakest and the most vulnerable times in life. I know this because I went through this with that Texas winter storm last year and through all those different hurricanes. So don't let them catch you off guard. But with these cyber attacks, it's different type of cyber attacks. I might do this a part 2 because I have some information in regards to organizations, to businesses, and how you can secure your data and whatnot to try to prevent ransomware. People having access, hackers and whatnot having access to your system. But right now, I'm just going to talk about like the basic cyber attacks for the prepping community, so you guys can kind of know and expect, what's going to happen. It's not a matter if, it's a matter when, y'all. That grid gonna go down. I'm gonna tell you that now. Expect that. Expect it. You have to almost expect everything, allegedly, even EMP attacks, So the most common attacks are denial of service attacks, and then you have I think I went through that. I'm sorry, y'all. I had all this stuff in my notes, but I did a video, and then when I went back through the video, it was some things that I saw that I had left out, and I wanted to make sure I addressed everything. It says, in computing, a denial of service attack is a cyber attack in which the perpetrator seeks to make a machine or network resource unavailable to its intended users by temporarily or indefinitely disrupting services of a host connected to a network. It says there are 2 general methods of DOS attacks, and that's denial of service attacks. Flooding services or crashing services. Flood attacks occur when the system receives too much traffic for the server to buffer, causing them to slow down and eventually stop. Popular flood attacks include buffer overflow attacks. The most common denial of service attack. And then you have ransomware. This is when, you know, hackers get into an organization's system, preferably banks and other organizations who are worth multi-million dollar corporations, and then they ask for ransom. You know, they hold it as ransom. They want money in order for those people to have access back to their system. It says ransomware attacks work by gaining access to your computer or device and then locking and encrypting the data stored on it. How does this happen? It often happens when victims mistakenly download malware through email attachments or links from unknown sources, which happens to be hackers. An example of that could be the Colonial Pipeline, the CNA Financial. It goes on and on. You guys can look into that yourselves, but a lot of people just pay these people off because they be in a desperate situation. They need to get back to, you know, their business being run, and they need their information. You know, they just need their organization to continue to keep on running. Now it says, like I said, most likely targets are banks, financial institutions. What I suggest and what they also suggest to experts is just not to have all your money in the bank. We already discussed this, y'all, because the banks are already playing with people's money, allegedly. We heard what's going on with Wendy Williams. This lady's got multi-million. She's a multi-millionaire, have millions of dollars in the bank and fighting the banks right now for her money. If you go look at Lead Farmer, I think it's Lead Farmer, yeah, or Lead Farmer. He even have a video on his platform talking about how he went into the bank and tried to get a substantial amount of money out the bank. They won't let him have his money. If y'all look at one of my videos, one of our supporters, one of our fellow survivors, sent me an email telling me how she and her husband couldn't even get their money out the bank. So don't have all your money in the bank. Have it spread different places. Have physical assets, you know, like if you can, like land or gold. I know before I got land, I used to always, like, every year income tax season, I would buy me a ring or a piece of gold. And it wasn't to show it off because I never did wear it. I always kept it in my storage. That was just because, you know, the value of gold, if something was to happen, if I needed money, I could sell it, or, you know, soon it seemed like we'd be able to barter it, you know what I mean? But use it as a barter, but, you know, have physical assets, things that's worth money, instead of just having, you know, just money. Also, they attack our critical infrastructure, which means our grid, water treatment plants. This is where it gets serious for me, you know, because once that grid goes down, y'all already know it gets nasty. It gets nasty real quick. And then you have a lot of people who depend on the grid, who uses oxygens for dialysis, people who are maybe in the hospital, people who may be sick, you know. So, you know, we always talk about having backup power sources. If you don't have a generator, you need to find out other ways that you can have backup power sources. Then it says, yeah, have backup power options, have fuel, plenty of water, plenty of ways of purifying your water, ways to cook, all those different things that we talk about here on this platform all the time. Of course, the emergency response team is going to be down. You know, when during these cyber attacks, there's no way for you to be able to call 911 or, you know, be in touch with like the EMTs or the fire department, the police department. You're pretty much on your own. And y'all, this is a part of their plan and their agenda. See, they allegedly, they want to make it hard for us like that so people can end up succumbing. See, it's a planned population, allegedly. And a lot of people are not going to make it through this. We just have to be real about it. For the last couple of years, a lot of people haven't been making it through all this nonsense, nightmare, foolishness, allegedly. Of course, social media is going to be down. Of course, the online retailers like Amazon and all those different things will be affected. So you guys just take precautions. And then I want to go through some of this as well briefly, y'all. It goes on and on. But that was part one for the prepping community. This is for, like, if you have a business. And if you have a business, and you're concerned about the cyber attacks, I suggest that you go studying that. I'm only going to touch a little bit and not iterate a lot on this area because I have no idea in regards to, I'm not that knowledgeable on how to or what you need to do in regards to being able to prevent a cyber attack on your system. So you need to look into that. I'm not an IT person. So I'm just gonna. I have some notes. I'll go over it briefly. It says U.S.-led sanctions on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine earlier this week have sparked considerable concern about retaliatory and spillover cyber attacks from the region on U.S. organizations and those based in other allied nations. Many expect the attacks to run the gamut from destructive campaigns, including the use of disk wipers and ransomware, to distributed denial of service attacks, phishing, disinformation, misinformation, and influence campaigns. Security experts expect that some of the attacks will be targeted and executed by state-hacked Russian threats. And they put a period at that, but I'm going to say not only Russian threats, America, people here in America, people here abroad, our powers to be, allegedly, and anyone who's with this agenda. See, that's what I'm saying. They always want to blame, they always do stuff to blame one thing or one person when indeed it could be coming from them, allegedly. Don't be fooled, y'all. Others are likely going to launch by actors sympathetic to Russian interests, and yet others will likely just spill over from Ukraine and cause collateral damage in the same way that NotPetya, that's N-O-T-P-E-T-Y-A, malware did a few years ago. Here are 7 measures that security experts say organizations need to take right now to be prepared for these attacks. Most of the advice includes measures that organizations should have in place already, but if they don't, now is a good time to implement them, says the experts. Chester Winniski, principal research scientist at Sophos, that's S-O-P-H-O-S, says the exposure that organizations face to Russian cyber attacks varies significantly. Companies that have done and are doing business in Ukraine should expect the worst and make sure that all their security controls are up to date as possible. Monitoring for credential abuse is especially key. You should expect communications to be unreliable and have backup plans for how to communicate by way of other means if you intend to continue operating during the conflict, Winniski says. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency has recommended that organizations working with Ukrainian counterparts take special care to monitor, inspect, and isolate traffic from those organizations and to review access controls for that traffic. The advice is one in a long list of tips that CISA has assembled in a document called Shields Up, as S-H-I-E-L-D-S, up. There's a reasonable chance of organizations that do business in the region, but not specifically Ukraine, such as Poland, Romania, Estonia, Lithuania, and Moldova, become victims of collateral damage from attacks designed to impact Ukraine. Winniski points to indicators that Sophos observed Thursday of a disk wiping malware tool called Hermetic Wiper, that's H-E-R-M-E-T-I-C Wiper, W-I-P-E-R, impacting some contractor locations in Latvia, and Lithuania, although it was targeted at Ukrainian entities. I don't expect Russia would directly target NATO members, but we saw similar fallout from the NotPetya attacks, which were intended to mostly impact Ukraine, Winniski says. Organizations with no connection to the region are at heightened risk of becoming victims of independent Russia-based threat actors or any other actors, I added that in, looking to cause harm to the West and perceived enemies of the Russian state. We were concerned about this outcome before the conflict began and noticed that the Contu ransomware group has come out and declared their full support of the Russian government, Winniski says. Number 2, it says, so number 1 was assess your exposure. Not everyone faces the same risk. Number 2 is minimize your attack surface. Number 3 is execute the basics. Number 4 is watch those B2B VPN connections. Number 5 is communicate. Number 6 is minimize changes. Number 7 is high-risk organizations should consider an ASAC membership. And it's supposed to have been 8, right? Or so it's 7. So what I'll do is I'll put this link in the description for those of you who are really concerned about your businesses being affected. You know, these leaders never cease to amaze me, y'all. I mean, I thought that it was going to be. I really thought, I didn't know that they was going to take it this far. Because you never can imagine these types of things. We couldn't have imagined all the stuff that's been planned out in the last 2 years to occur. Never in our lifetime. Now, pandemics, okay, that happens every now and then, right? Not so often. But it has happened before. I heard one of you guys say that mandates happened before, and when those mandates occurred, it hurt people just like it's hurt now. So some of these things have happened before, but not so often and frequently. We would have never imagined these things. I would have never imagined innocent civilians, people and family, children, elderly, mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, cousins, all people, everyday people like you and I, being attacked in war tactics because of these people who are in power. This is when I say, oh my God, oh my God, this is all for y'all. Y'all think this stuff can't happen here in America. You're sadly mistaken. Put your seatbelt on. It's been pre-designed to be this way. All in the plan, allegedly. Y'all, we have to expect the worst. We have to, somebody else, I think Charlie, you helped me out the other day because I can't, what'd you say, prepare, expect the worst, prep, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. Remember I said that in one of my videos, you have to go every day just expecting something. And if these leaders over here thinking like this make them look like they so good, if y'all sitting up here thinking, but boy, if I owned a news station, I'm telling you, boy, I could sure change that. Because people put stuff on the news and everybody just be sold to it. So we going to forget how the leaders over here convince people to go down there and get this here. And hundreds of thousands of people succumb to it. They're no longer here because of that, allegedly. We're going to forget how millions of people went down there and got this here. And now their bodies being affected. The adverse effects, they're not the same. So we don't think that's wars against humanity neither. We don't think mandates are wars against humanity. Depriving people to be able to take care of their families because they don't go down here and do something towards your agenda. That's not a war. That's not crimes against humanity. The list goes on and on. $50 million worth of drug paraphernalia that you put in the black communities because you know black communities are suffering way worse, and you have poor white communities suffering too. A lot of black communities are suffering because of this pandemic. So wait for them to medicate themselves to go get drugs, and you're going to provide them with the drug paraphernalia. That's not war against humanity. So it's easy right now for them to point fingers at other people. But y'all, if y'all sit up here and forget and lose in your head what they're doing to us, what they've done to us, I feel sorry for you. You better know who your true enemies are. Because a lot of your leaders, a lot of our leaders, they've been bought and sold, baby. Traitors of America. Allegedly. If you guys are in need of any radiation suits in the event of a nuclear attack, these are some of the things I do have now on my website. The links will be in the description. We have the CBRN gas mask and filter. Also, the potassium iodide tablets. If you're looking for bug out locations, we have some bug out locations in Texas. You don't have to buy the entire, it's not, the bug out locations is not land for sale. It's just somewhere that you can go to that you can rent for the time being, to get out of the cities, to get out of harm's way. If you and your family need somewhere like that to go, that will always also be on my website. Links will be in the description. We also have land for sale in Texas. If you're looking for land anywhere in America, I can assist you in that area. Send me an email at prepperzan@gmail.com. If you have any information you'd like to share with me like so many of you guys do. And I thank you for emailing me because you give us a heads up of what's going on. Email me at prepperzan@gmail.com. Please follow me on my other platforms. Also, join us on Patreon for raw, uncut, filtered content, and also survivalism classes every single week. Don't get caught off guard. They gonna hit that grid. I'm gonna let you know right now. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, allegedly. And you guys, be prepared for it. Don't sit up here, just be listening to these people, getting caught all up in your feelings, and let them stray you to how they to their agenda, because they want y'all to be all in y'all feelings right now, thinking that they're going to be the hero that's going to save the day, when they just might be the ones to end your day. Watch this world, watch the weather, smell your water, purify your water before you use it, and keep surviving.